So when Dante was 35, he was in dark woods, tired and a little drugged. He stumbled out of the forest and found himself in front of a hill. This hill seemed like it was glowing, so he walked to the top of the hill and faced a leopard that wouldn't let him pass. Then a huge lion charged at him, with a wolf following close behind. These three beasts are symbols of the three divisions of hell. So then he saw a spirit and he was like, "Have mercy on me." And then the spirit was like, "I will bring you through an eternal place." So the spirit came because of three heavenly ladies, Beatrice, Mary, and Lucia, who showed concern for him. "And abandon all hope, ye who enter here," which were words carved into the top of the gate, which the guide said meant that this is a place where you're going to see miserable people who have abandoned all good. Okay, so then they got to the river, and the ferryman was like, "You're alive, you shouldn't be here, whatever." And then Dante's guide was like, "Heaven has decreed that we should be allowed." And then the ferryman brought them across, but all of the other spirits were very angry. So then the guide and Dante came into the first circle, and immediately Dante felt that sighs trembled the air. So then the guide explains, like, basically what the circle is. Like, they didn't sin, but their good deeds were not enough, and they weren't baptized. And basically, like, God acknowledged the human excellence, but man's achievements pale to those with God. And then there was a crowd surrounding the fire, but Dante noticed that some were set apart, and the four mighty shades came towards them: Homer, Horace, Ovid, and Lucan. And they were some of the greats, and they made Dante one of their own band. And then he went through 7 doors with them. And then Dante saw many who are well known for knowledge and good deeds, including Hector, Aeneas, Caesar, Saladin, Aristotle, Orpheus, Plato, Socrates, Eleuthid, and Ptolemy. And so they live in this castle, which represents philosophy, and it produces its own light. And that is what this painting represents. Okay, so then they descended into the second circle, and near the entrance was Minos, who examines and judges the sinners who confess every single sin that they've ever committed in their life. And then he determines which circle to send them to, and he wraps his tail around the number of times, like, of the circle. So then as they went farther into the circle, the winds roared, which is, like, basically represents, like, uncontrolled passion. And then Dante heard a bunch of, like, wails and cries. And these spirits spin through the air with no hope of comfort, because the passion overwhelmed them, leading to their downfall and bad things in life. And the guide pointed out people including Semiramis, Dido, Helen, Achilles, Paris, and Tristan. And the people they were lustful with in life were now, like, joined together physically in the wind. So, but they felt such guilt that they couldn't even enjoy being together. Okay, so then they entered the third circle, where there was frozen rain, which represents obsession with materials, which left all the souls cold. Also, hailstones, dirty water, and black snow fell from the sky constantly into the slush. So this is where Cerberus lives, which he's a 3-headed dog with a ravenous appetite. And he's, like, from classical mythology. And so these sinners did nothing with the gifts of God but produced garbage. So now they live in that garbage. And then Dante saw this guy, Florentine, who he knew when he was alive, but he was unrecognizable because of what he did to himself. Okay, so then they entered the fourth circle, which is the hoarders and wasters. And Dante saw a nation of lost souls. And in that were two circles, the hoarders and the wasters, which had like constant back and forth, like, why do you hoard? Why do you waste? And the Veracosius, which is the hoarders, couldn't help themselves to material goods. But the prodigals, who are the wasters, were good at getting more and more money, but spent it all right away. And these rocks that they're pushing back and forth are mundane nature things obsessed over, which now is like a dead weight. And the souls are dimmed by greed, so now they're unrecognizable. Okay, so then the guide in Dante came upon the river Styx, which is the division between upper and lower hell. And then in circle 5, it's basically sinners who express their anger immoderately. And there's two different types. The wrathful, who are trapped in the slime of the Styx, constantly attack each other. And these are those who acted upon their anger in life. And then the sullen, who are under the slime of Styx, experienced wrath but internalized it, who vent their feelings to the water of the Styx. Okay, so then they enter the city of Dis, which is like another gate into lower hell, guarded by fallen angels. But a heavenly messenger has to help them get past the fallen angels because Virgil cannot. And then in this sixth circle, which is like the heretics, there are 3 inhuman furries come towards Dante and Virgil. And they have snakes in their hair and belts of hydras, but then Virgil told them off. And then the heretics are basically people whose beliefs contradicted the church. And they lie in tombs with flames around them. And the lids are scattered because on Judgment Day, they'll be like sealed forever. And the heretics didn't believe in eternal life, so they lie in eternal death. Okay, so then they entered the 7th circle, which consists of 3 divisions of violence. And the first is violence against neighbors, which these people are smothered in a river of boiling blood because they caused bloodshed and now they must wallow in it. And then the centaurs stab and shoot at them when they try to rise. Because of their violence on others, they now suffer violence. And then the next is violence against selves. And they destroyed their bodies, so now they're trees and like stationary because like resisting the urges or whatever. And then, so when those branches are plucked, they can speak. So, like, the blood is, like, their voice. And their wounds are real and are inflicted continuously by the harpies. Then the violent against God are blasphemers, who they are stretched out on the sand and hit with fire, which, like, the fire is, like, God's wrath. And then the violent against nature are sodomites, and they run in circles on the hot sand. And the circles represent their like broken lifestyle. And then there's the usurers, who are huddled and crouched on the hot sand. And these are people that in life they didn't want to prosper, or they didn't work to prosper. And so their entire existence is based around chasing money. So then they entered the 8th circle, which has like 10 different bogias, which are ditches. And the first one, which you'll see in the top left of this picture, are the pimps and seducers who are driven like cattle by demons. And these demons represent their conscience with whips. And like in life, they drove others to commit acts, to do like their evil will in life. Now they are being driven. And then to the right is the flatterers, which are in the sewer of hell, sunk in excrement. And then to the right are the Simonists, who are clergy that sold offices or forgave sins for money. They are upside down with their feet on fire, mocked by the Holy Office. Now the Holy Office mocks them. In the middle left are fortune tellers, who have to walk backwards with their heads upside down, and their eyes are so full of tears that they can't see, because they tried to see the future, but now they can only look to the past. To the right are the grafters, who are under boiling sludge. The demons stab at them with pitchforks if they try to escape, and they wanted everything they could get their hands on, and now the demons can't wait to grab at them. Then to the right are the hypocrites, who wear heavy robes and walk in circles, and they can't show their true appearance because they hid it from the world in life. And then in the level 2 of Circle 8, to the bottom left are the thieves, who snakes attack them, and when they're bitten they burst into flames and are restored only to be punished again. And the hands that they used for thievery are bound by snakes. And then up and to the right are the evil counselors, who are completely covered in raging fire because they abused their God-given gifts. Their acts were concealed, and now they are. And to the middle bottom are the sowers of discord, who separated what God had joined, so now they're cut and hacked up by demons with swords, and they can't change that. They're gonna be hacked for the rest of the eternal whatever. And then to the bottom right are the falsifiers, who are subject to filth of ground and are piled on top of each other. So then they entered the 9th circle of hell, which is treachery, and everything drains to form the sheet of ice here. So treachery lacks love, so sinners lack warmth, and they are denied God's love. There's a couple different types of sinners in here. The traitors of kin and country, who are stuck in the ice up to their necks. The betrayers of guests and hosts, who have ice up to half of their faces, so they could cry, but their tears would freeze their eyes shut. And then the traitors to masters, who are completely under the ice. And this is where Satan is, and he's half above the ice, and he has 3 heads, 6 wings, 6 eyes, 3 chins, so it's kind of like a 666 thing. And each of his 3 mouths chew a sinner: Judas, Cassius, and Brutus. And that is Dante's Inferno.